What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Monday, August 18th. It's a big day. It's a big morning because 23 of the 24 FFT Open Leagues started their draft 14 minutes ago at 10 a.m. Eastern, and we're going to be tracking it.
Oh, who didn't?
Tom Fornelli started his last week. I think he already finished. He did a complete...
We could have did it last week?
No, because most of the leagues... not most, but about half the leagues, we had some managers who I just got them in like a few days ago. So the leagues weren't full, but some of the leagues were full. But anyway, I think this is a fun day. It's FFT Open Day. It's starting today. All these leagues, over 20 leagues, drafting right now, untimed, or 3 hours between picks. First 3 picks of my league are Chase, Lamb, Bijan Robinson. So Lamb went second.
Mine too.
Really?
Yeah.
Not mine.
What's yours?
Chase, Bijan Robinson.
Yeah. All right.
I got Bijan at 2.
Very, very good. This is 12-team full PPR, but you only start 2 receivers. Small lineups: quarterback, 2 running back, 2 receiver, 1 flex, 1 tight end, no kicker, no defense. Anyway, you didn't come in.
Jamey's on the clock. I want to know what he does.
Oh, 4th.
4.
All right, what do we got? Oh my God!
I took Jahmyr Gibbs at 4. Robinson went 3.
I just realized that I'm the co-commissioner. I'm the commissioner of every league, so I'm going to get 23 emails like every day. You're on the clock, and they're not really going to be me. All right. Anyway, you came here to hear
more
about
23 if everybody goes through more than 1 round.
Yeah, I know. Winners and losers from preseason week 2. It was really nice to at least see something positive from Caleb Williams in the Bears offense, be it against Bills backups last night. But Dave, you were actually at the joint practices this week. Did you see anything that resembled the studliness of the Bears first team offense that we saw on Sunday night?
Very little. And that's what made Sunday a lot more interesting to me. And apparently Ben Johnson too, because Ben Johnson said after the game that the 3 practices that Williams had plus the game, those are the best days that he's stacked since training camp began. And we talked about this, just the up and down nature of how Caleb was doing. And now it looks like he's starting to kind of take off. And it's a positive thing. I know he did it against backups. I'm not moving him up in my rankings because of it. I'm going to move other Bears up and down based on what I saw in practice. In practice, he seemed to be a little more cautious. And in team drills, he only threw 3 touchdowns over the course of a practice. So not exactly a great day for him, but it's not like he was throwing interceptions. Josh Allen was the one throwing interceptions. He didn't turn the ball over. He took care of the football. He did what he needed to do. And then in this preseason game, he just kind of let it rip. And I thought that was really a good thing to see.
All right, so we're going to get some more winners and losers. I'm going to ask you some hey real quick. A lot of them are about, I said winners and losers, but really talking risers and fallers as you're making changes in your rankings. A lot of them are about risers and fallers. Some of them are injury related. So let's do this real quick. I know that we don't, amongst the elite wide receivers, we're lower on Amon-Ra St. Brown than average draft position. But at this point, Amon-Ra St. Brown or Puka Nacua?
Sun God.
Puka.
And I'm only asking this because of the Stafford injury. He's still not back. He's still dealing with his back injury. So I know Puka's falling. Dave, that's a change for you. You move St. Brown ahead of Puka?
I'm getting more encouraged about the Lions as well. Just the way that they've operated all training camp. They had 2 practices back-to-back with the Dolphins. And the reports out of Detroit were that they dominated on the first day. And they did very well on the second day. And St. Brown apparently couldn't be covered. And it's the Dolphins. This is a defense that's not going to have very good cornerbacks, so it's to be expected. But I'm starting to get energized about the Lions, and I think they'll end up being how many touchdowns did they have last year? 68. That's a lot. They probably won't get that many, but they're going to score a lot. They're going to be a good team this year. This offense is going to be good. And with Jimmy Garoppolo starting, who knows how long is he going to be the starter for LA? He had a bad joint practice against the Saints of all teams. Makes me just a little bit nervous about Nacua being amazing. So in full PPR, I'm going to take St. Brown.
And Jamey, how far down have you moved Puka?
He's in round 2, but he's still in the top 7 receivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick. TreVeyon Henderson or Davante Adams, also related to Matthew Stafford. And, of course, Henderson, a riser, touchdown run this past week. TreVeyon Henderson or Davante Adams?
It's very close for me.
Yeah.
Let me check. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing.
I'll tell you mine. It's Davante. But, again, like Jamey, it's going to be very, very close. It's very tough to to look at what TreVeyon Henderson's done and say, well, he's a rookie, or he's going to share with a veteran running back. Josh McDaniels has done this. And I said all of these stupid things 2 weeks ago, and now here I am, egg on my face. I'm a total idiot. I don't see how Josh McDaniels doesn't get TreVeyon Henderson the ball more. And I'm late to the party, but I've got him as a round 4 pick in full PPR.
TreVeyon is number 30 overall for me, and Adams is 32.
Holy moly. 30 for TreVeyon Henderson.
Who's he over? Who are the running backs that you're going to take Henderson over?
Preassall easily. Ken Walker at this point. Kamara, Hubbard, Connor.
Yeah,
I'm all in.
I'm not there yet. That is a very all-in call.
I'll tell you what, though. I mean,
I admire the bravado.
The one guy that I just cannot see drafting unless it's round 5 at this point is Preassall. It's just,
yeah, I'm out.
Hasn't been much good there.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of speculation going on right now between Preassall, Brian Robinson, and a Jaguars running back of will any of them get traded?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, these are the
you heard the Brian Robinson trade rumors already out there with the Fox Sports report from Jordan Schultz. There was a report this morning from Jacksonville.com that Tank Bigsby could be on the market, which doesn't make much sense because you think it's ETN, but the way that the story is written is that Bigsby's contract's easier to move than ETN's, who's making more money. And then Preassall obviously has been sort of an underlying potential trade chip all offseason. So will any of them get moved is very, very interesting. I doubt it, but it would be I think good for everybody in a lot of places, if they can get some different chances.
All right. Hey, real quick. I know you like TreVeyon Henderson. How about Omarion Hampton or TreVeyon Henderson?
Still Hampton.
Hampton is almost in round 2 at this point. Hampton is ahead of him. I have Hampton at 29. So I have Hampton 29, Henderson 30.
All right. Justin Fields or Kyler Murray?
Kyler.
Fields still.
I'm done with Fields. Done. I've done a full 360 between March and August on Justin Fields.
I mean, we could talk about this because he's been just brutal this preseason, but you just got to look at his NFL track record, Dave. He's still a guy that he's never been a good passer, and yet he always finishes as a top 10-ish quarterback per game.
You and tennis, you just can't stop talking about it. I get it, but I'm worried about his passing. Just like it's been 2 preseason games. It's been all the reports out of the joint practices that he's just not on top of it. It's who he's throwing to. It's Garrett Wilson. And let's play this game again. Who's the second best option in the passing game for the Jets?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we used to say Breece Hall. We don't like Breece Hall. We thought about Mason Taylor. Okay, maybe. They don't have that second guy. And even in Chicago, I know DJ Moore was that main guy. They still had other peripheral players that helped Justin Fields out. And then there's what's going to happen if he's not getting a lot of numbers through the air, what's going to happen in the weeks where he's not getting 75 yards rushing and a touchdown, because he doesn't do that every week. And then there's also the injuries on top of it. And the Jets just seem like just a team that's like going to be slow paced and run the ball with all their running backs. When I say I'm out, I mean, he's not top 12 for me anymore. Will I still draft him? Sure. But it's not going to be he's not going to be my quarterback week 1 against the Steelers.
So I think that, and Dave's right, there's a lot of reason to panic in regards to Justin Fields. The thing about this position, though, especially once you get past like QB, I think it's probably QB 9, so like the Dak Prescott, the Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix, Dak Prescott range. So you mentioned Kyler Murray, we're starting to get into those guys, if you like Jared Goff in that spot, Brock Purdy's in that conversation. Trevor Lawrence probably belongs in that conversation, Jordan Love, a lot of those guys. I think it's a matter of, do you want the guy who has the most upside first or the guy who has the safer floor first? And so it's really going to come down to, I think, how you draft, because it's easy to get 2 of them. And if you just, go with the sliding scale, Herbert's still there. Tua is going to still be there. Stroud could still be there. There's just a lot of different ways you can sort of mix and match your quarterbacks. And so I want to move Fields down, but then I think about what his upside is, and it's better than most of these guys. He's not safer than these guys, but his upside is better than these guys.
I
And
don't see
so if he becomes the quarterback that we've seen, I mean, look, he got off to a miserable start with the Steelers last year too. His last 4 games, he was averaging over 24 points per game. So with one real weapon, so
Yeah,
there's
that's fair.
Yeah. And he
There-
didn't really
there's-
have weapons with the Bears. I mean, he had more, and they stunk. They had Cole Kmet,
Yeah,
Darnell Mooney, who
it's
did
never
nothing.
really for him. It's not going to be about what he does as a passer. He's going to cobble together his passing numbers in some way, shape, or form that will hopefully put him in the top 10 conversation. But look, if you're watching him play, you can't be comfortable. I mean, I've already done one draft I'm playing out where he's my quarter. My 2 quarterbacks are Justin Fields and Anthony Richardson. Now, this is a 4 point for passing touchdown league, and Jared Goff is still sitting there on waivers, so I'm fine. There's a lot of guys on
Right.
waivers.
That's the other thing.
So A, know your league. B, figure out your draft strategy. If you want to take the swing for the fence, and that's what Justin Fields is, take him first, and then figure out your backup quarterback.
It's a different conversation in 4-point versus 6-point leagues. Also, keep that in mind. We default to 6. Hey, real quick, Isiah Pacheco or DeAndre Swift?
Still Swift, but they're close. They're both in round 5 for me.
Let me double check. Looking. I have Pacheco 1 spot ahead of Swift.
Hey, real quick,
6.
Ricky Pearsall or Calvin Ridley?
Oh, I want it to be
Ridley,
Pearsall, but I'm
they're
taking
almost
Ridley.
back-to-back.
All right, so both of you are very close saying Ridley, though.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about that throw by Cam Ward that Van Jefferson dropped?
Ugh.
Oh,
It's a great throw.
The fact that Van Jefferson is still in a starting conversation is ridiculous.
I don't know if he's going to be starting much longer after that play.
The fact that people haven't taken advantage of this amazing offer is ridiculous. If you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use the bonus code FANTASY when you sign up. You're going to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. So here's what you do. You download the BetMGM app. You sign up and use the bonus code FANTASY. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure that you use the bonus code FANTASY when you sign up on BetMGM. Okay, so give me 1 or 2 big risers in your rankings. Jamey, you can start.
Braelon Allen, he's RB 34 for me at this point. And Breece Hall is RB 20. So it's hard to, again, overlook what's happening and what you're hearing and what you're seeing, national NFL guys saying how good Braelon Allen could be, and the potential of just how bad maybe Breece Hall is going to lose work. So, Braelon Allen was a double-digit round guy, and now I would be looking at him potentially round 7, but down round 8 for sure.
Oh boy.
All right. How about Dave? That sounds a little too rich for you, I guess.
It feels a little too rich, but I get it. I think that he could end up. There's a chance he could end up being the best Jets running back this year. Did I almost say a bad word there? I'm sorry about that, but I'm still going to say that Breece Hall, as he's done in the preseason game, leads the way, gets a good amount of targets. Here's an interesting question, Jamey. Maybe you can help me with this one. Who's better suited at the goal line between the two of them? They can both do it, but one of these guys is pretty massive, and he's been running with power every chance we've seen so far this summer, and that's Braelon. Could Braelon actually take Breece off of the goal line?
I mean, I think I said it within the last 2 weeks that Breece Hall, if he's not going to be significantly involved in the passing game, is going to be a trap back, because exactly what you just alluded to. Like Braelon Allen, they took Breece off the field for a short yards play against the Giants. He didn't get it on the first conversion. He got it on the second one. 3rd and short. Then he got it on 4th and short. So I'm convinced they're pretty committed to Braelon Allen in a pretty strong capacity. I don't disagree with you. Breece Hall should be the best running back. I'm not ranking Braelon Allen ahead of Breece Hall. I'm just worried about Breece Hall and more excited about Braelon Allen. There's an easy scenario here where Allen, who's clearly disgruntled to some degree, he's already voiced his displeasure about, or his concern, I shouldn't say displeasure, his concern about that he's not this regime's guy.
Hall
said that.
That's Hall.
And I'm sorry, Hall said, excuse me. So there's a path here where he gets disgruntled, and because of his workload, and Braelon Allen just continues to do the right things and gets more playing time. So goal line opportunities. It seems like there could be a situation where the pass catching role could be split between Breece Hall and Isaiah Davis, some of the things that they've shown. So it just feels as if Breece Hall is, based on ADP, getting overdrafted. I would still take him again, but to your point, Adam, round 5 is the landing spot for me. I would not take him in the first 4 rounds.
Right. I don't really know what he has over Isaiah Pacheco. I know I talk about Pacheco a lot, but I don't know what he has over him. I don't know what he has over DeAndre Swift. Like you said, it's going to have to be a lot of catches. And then I think we all have this fantasy of Breece Hall being that player that he was as a rookie when he was one of the most dynamic running backs in football. He hasn't been anything close to that in the last 2 seasons. And so far in the preseason, this is where it's tricky because it's been so few carries, but we haven't seen that burst in the preseason. And then obviously they're going to split with Allen, who's looked, I think we could all agree, he's looked a little bit better.
He has.
Yeah.
Right. If you take the totality of the 2 games, I would agree that Braelon's looked better than Breece. Breece did have a nice 12-yard run. For whatever it's worth, it's one run. I don't know if that's worth, going gaga over. I would also mention that, I don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure every 3rd and 4th down play with Justin Fields went to Braelon Allen in their second preseason game.
All right, let's move on here, and let's take a break. Actually, we'll take a break. We'll come back, get some more risers, get some big time fallers for you here, and also I think we need to talk about last year's preseason injuries and if they steered us in the wrong direction or not. And we'll be right back on Fantasy Football Today.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today. So far we've addressed the Rams wide receivers with Matthew Stafford, his back injury lingering. TreVeyon Henderson continues to rise. Omarion Hampton continues to rise. Justin Fields, really the Jets are a big storyline. If you didn't see the 49ers, Ricky Pearsall was on fire. I mean, it's just, he's the only wide receiver really that's reliable right now, but he looks great. Purdy and Pearsall were just completely locked in. Braelon Allen as a riser. Jamey, give me one more riser, and then we'll go to Dave's.
Nick Chubb. I didn't want to, but it's hard to overlook the fact that Joe Mixon still no update, and he wasn't awful. Behind a clearly a bad offensive line. I know I'm not supposed to say behind a bad offensive line, but he moved from in the 50s to the 40s. Not a big riser, but somebody that I think you can be a little bit more comfortable with if you're trying to find some backup running back.
5 carries, 25 yards, 1 carry for 4 yards against the Panthers. And just clearly Nick Chubb ahead of Woody Marks right now. So he would be the guy to get in second in the backfield for the Texans. And
Woody
really,
or is it Dameon Pierce?
What do you think?
I mean, I don't know what Dameon Pierce looks like. I don't know what the reports have been. I think he's just now getting back into the swing of things. I thought Woody Marks looked pretty good in the preseason game. It's against backups, so take it for what it's worth.
Well, yeah, I guess the only thing to say is that Chubb is currently ahead of Woody Marks on the depth chart, and Pierce did not play, and he's been working his way back from an injury. But Mixon, it's as the guy who's been the Mixon guy, I'm starting to get a little concerned here. There's just, I don't know. I'm kind of doubting that he's not doubting, but if I had to guess right now, is he going to be ready for week 1? I'm leaning no.
Remember when you took Mixon over Pacheco, your favorite running back of all time?
I'm just kidding. Remember we talked about don't draft early, and you were like, well, actually, maybe you want to draft early if you have a good feel. I feel like I'm not going to be able to get Pacheco anymore, and I feel like I'm not going to be able to get Pearsall anymore. It's like,
but that was the reason for drafting early.
Exactly. Yeah, you made a good point. Now, there's also, I drafted somebody and he just got hurt in a preseason game. That could happen too.
Well, yeah, but this is the reason you do best ball drafts early, middle, and late is to get great values at certain times. And so anybody who drafted Braelon Allen cheap, Ricky Pearsall cheap, Calvin Ridley cheap, a lot of these players that are rising in everybody's eyes, you benefit.
Yeah.
And yes,
Right.
you do lose because of maybe Matthew Stafford's injury
Right.
hurting the Rams guys, for example.
And you know what? One of the things I'm going to do is compare current ADP with NFC ADP over the last 5 days. Because, for example, let me tell you this. Omarion Hampton, because the Triple H is rising, right? Hampton, Harvey, Henderson.
Oh, yeah.
Hampton, over the last 5 days, is going 31st overall. He's RB 13. Henderson is going 41st overall. He's RB 17. So it goes, you got like this top 12 that ends with Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams. Most of these drafts, I think, are half PPR, by the way. Then it's Hampton after Kyron Williams. Then it's James Cook, still Breece Hall, 37th, RB 15. Then it's Ken Walker. Then it's TreVeyon Henderson. Then Alvin Kamara. Harvey, meanwhile, after Kamara, it's Hubbard, James Conner. Harvey's still 60th. So he has not really risen that much in this ADP, which is 51 drafts, non-super flex over the last 5 days. All right. Anyway, Dave, give me a couple of risers.
I'm going to give you 3 wide receivers who I am excited about taking in the early middle rounds. Let's call it round 7 and beyond. So let's say you miss on Pearsall. You want somebody that's got some upside. Odunze is one of them. Keon Coleman is one of them. And then there's the third one. Egbuka is one of them. And they are all kind of in that same range. And they're in that order for me, with Odunze leading the way. This is the second time that I've gone to Bears camp and seen Caleb Williams and Odunze on the same page. But it's the first time this year, and it's Odunze's second year. Everybody knows that. He looked really good beating up on Buffalo's first-string defense and first-string secondary in the joint practice. More importantly, he's working downfield. DJ Moore is not. DJ Moore was getting a bunch of short area targets. DJ Moore got a carry. I'm getting the sense that we're going to see a lot of DJ Moore in the same type of role that he finished last year in. I don't understand why. I think DJ Moore can still do anything that a coach asks him to do. But I think that they really like what Odunze can give as far as just a super athletic freak, big size, huge catch radius. We saw that in the joint practice as well. And I could see Caleb Williams taking a small step forward as a passer. And hopefully the offensive line gets fixed for Chicago. They look great in the preseason game. They were terrible in the practice. If they can get that fixed, Caleb will have a little bit more time. Odunze will be a playmaker for Chicago. I even think there's a chance Odunze ends up with better numbers than DJ Moore this year. But I'm not going to rank it anywhere close to that. But DJ Moore came way down in my rankings. Odunze up. Keon Coleman is going to be the number 1 target for Buffalo. He was drawing double teams. He looks a little bit faster than he was last year. I talked with Joe Brady after practice. Joe told me that Keon Coleman was just a lot more dedicated during the offseason. Coleman didn't like the way that he finished his rookie year. He's dialed in. The Bills want to get him the ball. He's somebody that I think could be very, very good for Buffalo and for fantasy managers. And then right behind him, Puka, that awesome touchdown catch that he had against Pittsburgh. He carved up the Steelers in the joint practices before then. He carved up the Titans in the joint practice that he had with them the week before. I don't know when Chris Godwin's coming back. And at this point, I'm starting to not care. I think Egbuka is going to end up being a big-time factor for Tampa Bay's offense. I think Tampa Bay's offense, I think about them the same way I think about Detroit. I think they're going to end up being just as good as they were last year, if not more so. And Egbuka is going to be one that benefits. I am excited about these 3 receivers because now these are more targets for me to go after, to be my number 3 guy, to be a high-end bench receiver in those middle rounds. Whereas a month ago, Adam, I felt like there weren't any receivers that I really liked in the middle rounds. Now there are, and I'm excited about all 3.
But you like Coleman better than Egbuka?
I do like Coleman better than Egbuka.
Okay, because that is not what the recent trends would say. Just looking at that same ADP.
Sure, I think the ADP is behind on Coleman. That's why.
Okay,
Well, I would take Egbuka over all the guys Dave said.
well, at least we can all agree that Egbuka is someone you need to be drafting. It's just, and he's been playing a lot. See, the weird thing is he's been playing on the outside, I think, mostly in the preseason.
That's where he's going to be. He talked about that with me when I was there. I asked him about that. Are you more comfortable in the slot or out wide? And he said, I'm comfortable with both. He never played slot. This is what he said. He never played slot until he got to Ohio State. So he's got plenty of life experience playing outside. And now he's training to play outside, which makes a lot of sense because when Godwin comes back, if he's not exactly speedy, but he can still cut, makes sense to put Godwin in the slot.
Okay. Let's all right. So recapping here, the risers and fallers. Braelon Allen are the risers. Braelon Allen and Nick Chubb are two of the risers for Jamey. Romo, Odunze, Keon, Coleman, Emeka, Egbuka for Dave. I want to just give a quick thank you. I was just on our Tiltify page yesterday and just looking at where we're at. I'll get you an exact number. $163,000 and $163,714.58.
That's awesome.
Pretty incredible. I just want to thank everyone who's been a part of that.
Is that a career best for us?
I think so.
We're having a breakout year.
Well, we want to get to 200K. Our Draftathon show. Thomas, if you have the exact date and time, it's next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure the 27th. I want to say it's from 5 to 8 or 4 to 7. I'll let you know in a minute. I know I said it last week, but I have forgotten. But our Draftathon show, we're going to be bringing in industry guests and non-industry guests and just having a lot of fun for 3 straight hours without a commercial and raising more money. But there's not a lot left to bid on the website. You can still bid on the mailbag for this upcoming Friday. I think we're recording it Thursday night. $50 to ask a question, but or not bid on, but just purchase. But I just wanted to thank everyone. It's been really cool, really amazing experience. Also, I have to be a little bit vague about this until tomorrow or Wednesday. But at some point on Wednesday, I'm going to be doing a self-indulgent sort of episode here. It's not going to be about fantasy football, but I am interviewing a rock star, pretty much a rock legend, who has a foundation and is going to play some fantasy football on CBS and raise money. And if you want to play in a league with this rock star, you can do it. And you'll be helping raise money for his charity, his foundation. And I can't wait to do this. So it's just, I'm hoping we'll get some good rock and roll stories in there. And, just giving you a heads up. It's going to be
is it Brian Adams?
No, the interview is going to be on Wednesday. I don't know when the audio will publish. Maybe Wednesday, maybe over the weekend. But for those of you who are interested in this, maybe playing against someone, I think you'll be pretty into it. So I can't wait. For those of you who are interested in something like this, just keep an eye on it. Definitely going to be on YouTube on Wednesday. All right, let's get some fallers. Dave, who are some of your biggest fallers?
I mentioned DJ Moore as a faller. I mentioned Justin Fields as a faller. Puka as a faller. Have we done enough talking about Rashee Rice in that situation?
It's my first item in the news and notes, which is coming up next, but let's talk about that.
We know that we think he's going to play the first 4 weeks of the season, and then we have absolutely no clue how many more games he will play from week 5 on. And we don't know if it's going to be a 4-game suspension, a 6-game suspension, a 3-game suspension, a 10-game suspension. And I'm getting nervous about something like that, because what if we draft him and he plays those 4 games and then he doesn't come back until the middle of the fantasy playoffs, or maybe even right before the fantasy playoffs? That's a big chunk of the year that we're not going to have a great player on our team, and he's going to be sitting in a bench spot unless your league will allow you to stuff a suspended player on your IR, which FYI, that shouldn't be allowed. So I moved Rashee Rice down. And I know that there's some people who moved him up because they're excited to have him for the beginning of the year, and they're banking on him not getting much of a suspension. They look at what Jordan Addison got, and they think, okay, well, that's what Rashee Rice is going to get. And if that happens, then yeah, I'm going to be way wrong on this. But I can't imagine, for what he did and the evidence that's there, that he's going to get the same type of suspension as Addison. And moreover, the fact that the NFL has called in an independent arbitrator, it just makes me a lot more nervous, and that it's happening in the middle of the season. Just that lack of clarity makes me want to.
I think there's reasons for that, though.
I just think I just want to run away from this. And I know Rashee Rice is great, but I can't take the chance on him with one of my first 4 picks.
So I think, first off, the reason that there's an independent arbitrator is because they gave him a suspension that he does not think is fair. So my guess is it was half the season, if not more, and his representation said no. And so they're challenging it. To whatever else happens after week 4, we don't know. You've illustrated it in your story about what happened with Judge Sue Robinson and the Deshaun Watson case, and how there was a length of time between when the case was heard and when her ruling was. So he may play the 4 games. If it still stays that way, there's still a chance he can accept whatever the NFL gives him, and it starts preseason. It doesn't seem likely, but that's still a possibility. We can get to after week 4, and we may not have a decision through week 6 or 7. So you may get 6 or 7 games out of him. And I don't know. I mean, we don't know how this is going to go. And then she may rule something, and then the NFL may decide, nope, we don't agree with that either. We're going to give our own ruling, and this is what it is. You have to accept it or you're done. So it's going to play out in some way, shape, or form. I would almost assume this year. There's some people that think maybe it gets pushed back to next year on appeals and all this stuff. I think it's going to happen at some point this season. If you were looking at Rice as getting suspended at the start of the season, and let's say it was going to be 4 to 6 games, and getting him back, you may have been 2-4 at that point, and he might not have helped you. Maybe you trade him, whatever the case may be, but might not have helped you. He may get you off to a 4-0 start, and then you just have to sort of manage it a different way. Now, the easier part of this would have been the beginning of the season, because no bye weeks. Hopefully your roster is not riddled with injuries. It's easier to manage.
Right.
The other part of this, again, is if the suspension gets pushed back, then you have him for however many weeks to get you to a point where hopefully your fantasy team could still be successful. I think the best format for him by far is guillotine leagues. He should still be a top 4 pick, if not top 3 pick, because if you're getting him for those 4 games, the way the way those leagues work is you need to guarantee yourself production early in the season, because how the waiver wire operates. So I'm not panicked about him at all in those formats, because that's the easiest type of leagues, how the waiver wire works, to get you through rest of season. So if you play in guillotine leagues, you should be still somewhat excited about Rashee Rice as a fantasy option. In regular redraft leagues, that's where it's a tough decision and what your best roster is. So I'm treating him as a 3rd receiver. I will start to look for him in round 6. I would prefer him round 7 or later. But if you can get him and he gets you off to a good start, you manage it the rest of the way, as long as your expectations are sort of modified. So 2 receiver league, he's going to be still a very productive fantasy option for you. 3 receiver league is going to be tough.
Okay.
Is it worth having the counter argument in a guillotine league, or is
no?
I'm
enough? Sorry,
it's fine.
How could there be a counter argument though?
The counter argument is let somebody else draft him, and then you pick him up when that team fails, because they're not going to have Rashee Rice in their lineup, and you can go and get him at that point while you've already built a roster full of guys that are helping you win.
But you want guys that help you get off to a good start.
Guess what? There's 200 of them.
Not that are going to fall to the spots where he falls in those leagues.
But where's he going to fall in those leagues? There's going to be plenty of other receivers who could be almost as good. I'm taking him with a lot of confidence.
But you say that they could be almost as good as Rashee Rice. He was the 2nd best receiver in PPR.
If he does that again, which I don't know if we're
no-brainer to take him in guillotine leagues. The way that those waivers. Have you played in guillotine leagues before?
Of course.
Well, I mean, you get so many options on waivers. It's easy.
All right, guys.
He could be one of them.
All right, so that's a good fall.
And you will know what his situation is theoretically by week 4, week 5, week 6, when he might be available.
You taking Ricky Pearsall or Rashee Rice?
Oh, Pearsall.
In guillotine leagues or
in regular leagues?
Pearsall.
That's actually a great conversation in guillotine leagues, because by the time that Rice is suspended, Pearsall may be 3rd on the pecking order,
or 1st.
I'm pretty pumped about Pearsall. Dude,
it's hard not to be, man.
Yeah, but
you're finally seeing what I've been seeing.
No. I've been on
everybody's seen it
for a long time. I know you have been, I think, the high guy on Pearsall, but I've been right there with you. And if you want to look at my Scott Fishbowl team, this was the one team I drafted early. It's got all of my guys, and Pacheco's on there and Pearsall's on there. I planted my flag in this a long time ago, I'd have to say. But no, I mean, I'm just very excited about him. And again, I said on the wide receiver breakout episode when we had Chris Harris, I was like, I don't get, what are people not seeing? How are people not seeing this great opportunity he has? He was a 1st round pick. All right, Jamey, who are some followers for you?
I dropped almost all the Bears receivers, mostly because of the crowded potential of all those guys. having target issues. So I think Dave's right on Odunze. He could have a great season. I think DJ Moore's not going away. I think Luther Burden sort of reminded people about what he can be. And then now you have this Zacchaeus problem potentially, plus 2 tight ends in the mix and the running backs catching passes. Like, it's going to be tough for them to justify all having this great season. Dave sort of hit on that when he was talking about the Bears. Like, if Caleb Williams, I think if I'm quoting you correctly, if Caleb Williams takes a step forward, and that's what we need to see for all these guys to be justifying their relative ADP, depending on where you're looking. So DJ Moore was a big faller. He was wide receiver 22 for me a couple weeks ago. Now he's 29. Romo Odunze was in the mid 30s, like he's dropped a few spots. I still have reasonable expectations for Burden, but I mean, I don't know if you heard the broadcast last night, but Ryan Poles was on with the Fox crew. And then when he was done, Greg Olson sort of threw him under the bus a little bit by saying something he might have said to him off air. And that was that Burden may be by the end of the season better than DJ Moore and Romo Odunze. Like, they like him that much.
Yeah.
So it just feels like there's going to be pockets of the season where these guys are all good. And I still want to draft them. It's not that I want to draft them, but don't want to draft them. I just don't want to draft them at their cost. More followers, Zach Charbonnet. I'm sorry, Kenneth Walker. I'm just concerned with this foot injury on and off. And Charbonnet's a riser. So Walker was RB 13 for me pretty consistently. And a round 3 pick, I dropped him to round 4. And I moved him behind Hampton and Henderson and even Harvey at this point. So just knowing his track record, it's a little concerning that I know he's back at practice, but then he misses practice, then he's back at practice. And you shared the report, I believe it was in ESPN, of what they think of Charbonnet at this point, and maybe a little bit of concern for Walker and his workload. So Walker is another faller as well.
Yeah, I'll read. First of all, if you went on Twitter during the Seahawks game, everyone's talking about this wide zone run scheme that they're executing to perfection.
Yes,
which they did against some Chiefs starters. But I'll read what the ESPN recap was. Walker has missed extensive chunks of time in the spring and summer after missing 11 games last year, and it's enough to wonder not only about his availability, but how crisp he'll be in a new blocking scheme when he is on the field. The ever-reliable Charbonnet, meanwhile, hasn't missed a day, and his production has been validating all the glowing praise he gets from teammates and coaches. Between Charbonnet's strong offseason and Walker's availability issues, it may be more of an even split in Seattle's backfield than a typical starter-backup situation. That's from Brady Henderson on ESPN. So again, that's not saying that it's going to be 50-50, but that it might be a little bit more of a split than you think, where, you know, it's always one of these situations where Charbonnet's good, but he was never really a threat to Walker on 1st and 2nd down. 3rd down, absolutely. 2-minute drill, absolutely. But Walker is a guy that we had kept touting in the 3rd round, late 3rd round. Are we still there?
Not
hard
for me.
to be. It's really hard to be still there.
But this is another one where, okay, last year, Jahmyr Gibbs had 2 soft tissue injuries in the preseason. Puka Nacua had, I think, a knee injury. The fact that Puka Nacua suffered a different injury in week 2, I don't know if it had anything to do with that. I'm saying that sometimes you can overreact to these preseason injuries, and then you can get amazing value on these players.
Yeah, this isn't really, I think, overreacting. I think if it was dropping him like I'm dropping Breece Hall, that's probably more of an overreaction to the injury. But there's a track record with this guy, unfortunately. You know, it's he's had a hard time staying healthy. Last year he played 11 games, which was a career low. So is he going to be okay? Remember, this is something that's been nagging him since the offseason. He was a walking boot in minicamp.
Yeah.
Were we taking him too close to his ceiling in round 3? I would say no. But now it just feels safer to take him closer to the floor, and that's in round 4.
So Ken Walker or Alvin Kamara?
Format dependent for me. I'll take Walker in half and non.
Okay, I'll take Walker in all of them.
But you guys are all you both. Well, I know Jamey is Henderson over Walker. Dave, how about you?
No, I'll still take Walker.
All right. The Henderson thing's really tricky. I think we have an email about that later. News and notes real quick. So we talked about Rashee Rice's suspension. And I think the key there is that one of the keys there is that seems like the NFL is pushing for a pretty long suspension, as mentioned. Ken Walker back at practice. All right, we got to talk about Achane. Jeez, man, what a busy show. All right, I got to do a little bit of a tease here. Devon Achane has a soft tissue injury. Mike McDaniel thinks he'll be ready for week 1. Where should you draft Devon Achane? We're going to tell you that after this break on Fantasy Football Today.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
Anybody dropping Devon Achane out of the first round as he has a soft tissue injury right now?
Not yet, but it's funny because I did a lot of Twitter polls, X polls for our show at 1 p.m. today, which Adam never promotes when he's not on. And
right, that's so bad. I'm sorry.
Achane still in round 1. It's a lot of pushback on that, which is surprising, but no, not yet. I mean, the fact that they say he's going to be ready for week 1. This is one of those, you want to see over the next couple of weeks. It was surprising when this news came out because we hadn't really heard much. And so hopefully it is something minor, but when you start to compare him to some of the other players around him, I'm curious. Keith is on the show at 1, and it's one of our topics to discuss. He's certainly been the high guy on Achane all offseason. So will he continue to have him as his number 2 running back, and will he continue to have him in the top 5?
He practiced on Wednesday, right? Against the Lions. And then was not there on Thursday. And it was McDaniels who said it's between days and weeks. And they don't, I haven't moved him yet. I don't know when I would. Move him down.
Okay. I'm sorry if I missed.
There will be a dip created because I'm sure most people are going to see the red injury tag and soft tissue injury. And now you might get Achane at like 15.
Well, we were already higher on him than most people.
I know.
His ADP on our site is probably higher than most places. And so you're probably most comfortable drafting round 2. Like our ADP to me is a little wacky. Like you see Josh Jacobs in round 1. I love Jacobs, but I can't understand that for the life of me.
1-2 turn for Jacobs. That's crazy.
Achane on NFC over the last 5 days, 51 drafts, is going 13th as RB6. He's going in between Ashton Genty and Derrick Henry. So how would you guys rank? Well, I'll ask you McCaffrey, Genty, Achane, Henry. That's how it looks right now. How about you guys?
Right now it's McCaffrey, Achane, Henry, Genty for me, but Achane could certainly slide behind the other 2.
Absolutely. I've got Achane at the top of the list as of now, and that's in full PPR.
Okay.
And I have him ahead of Barkley.
Now, do you feel like Jalen Wright or Ollie Gordon is worth drafting? Which one?
They're still very much showing us that Wright is the second guy. Now, will Gordon have an opportunity to take over? He looked good in the preseason game against the Lions, but it was clearly against backups. So how much of an opportunity will they give him? And is this going to be a team that is in the market for one of these running backs? Because they had a lot of success in 2023 when they had a proven veteran physical running back in Raheem Mostert. That wasn't the case for them last year because Mostert was injured for a good portion of the season. I think they wanted that in Madison, and then he suffers a neck injury. Jalen Wright is hopefully, if you're banking on him, a Achane clone. Now, he hasn't done that to any extent to prove it, but you're talking about a smaller speed back that hopefully can make plays in the passing game. He's not going to be a short yard, no matter what Tyreek Hill, he's not going to be a short yardage guy. And so will Ollie Gordon get those opportunities, or again, will they be one of the teams that's aggressive to bring somebody else? Remember, they did this a year ago or 2 years ago with Jeff Wilson, bringing in somebody that had familiarity with Mike McDaniel's system. So could they go that route again, or could they go maybe find somebody that's potentially on the market? We'll see.
You know what would happen, Adam, if Achane was out and Jalen Wright fell out of favor with the coaching staff?
Well, he fumbled and hasn't really done much. Fumbled in the preseason week 2. Hasn't really done much.
Couldn't win at the goal line. So if it's not Achane, I'm making a joke here, idiot. If
I'm
it's
sorry,
not Achane and it's not Jalen Wright,
I'm sorry.
I'm
managing 23 FFT open leagues right now, and one of them is having an issue. So, but it was not an issue. It was actually a funny.
You know what? You're not even getting the joke. I'm keeping it.
Okay, great, Dave. I'm sorry. I don't care. Team name Tuesday. Aw shucks. Is in Tyler Shuck. Okay, more news and notes. Brian Robinson Jr. is apparently being shopped. We already talked about that. Would you draft, if he were traded, who would be the first Commanders running back you drafted?
Austin Eckler.
JCM.
Okay. Austin Eckler last year played 3 games without Brian Robinson. He had 9 of 11 carries for amongst the running backs, 9 of 11 running back carries at Baltimore. But then he split, the second game, he split very evenly with 2 other guys. He had 11 carries. Chris Rodriguez had 11. Jeremy McNichols had 8. And then the third game without Robinson, Eckler had 13 carries, but then McNichols only had 4 and Rodriguez had 2. So 2 of the 3 games, he dominated the running back carries, and obviously he gets his catches. Terry McLaurin is off the PUP list, hopefully making his way back to some type of agreement and back in camp. Anybody move Terry McLaurin up?
Down.
I didn't move him.
All right. Terry McLaurin or Jameson Williams?
Jameson.
I kind of want to go Jameson.
Okay. Wow. Terry McLaurin or let's keep going even lower. Ricky Pearsall.
McLaurin.
They are now back-to-back for me.
Wow. That is like crazy low on Terry McLaurin. I mean, I guess maybe it isn't, but that's considering he was being drafted as a 3-4 turn not long ago, Jamey. This is pretty nuts, but you've talked about it a lot. Matthew Stafford's still not practicing. The Giants did not commit to left tackle Andrew Thomas being ready for week 1. And
How
Malik
excited are you right now about the Giants?
Not that excited.
Come
Malik
on.
Dude, their first team offense scored 7 points on 4 possessions against the Jets.
Come on, you got to be excited.
Because they started the wrong quarterback.
I'm not that excited. Like,
You got to be excited. They
this
did that
just
without
shows
Neighbors.
you- Yeah, this just shows you if Neighbors doesn't play, they're going to be horrible. Right? I mean, if he misses any time, they have no
You have
talent.
to be excited. Forget about like thinking that anything positive. You just got to be excited. That was fun.
I don't have to, but I did tell Dan. I was said we both kind of agreed we wouldn't be surprised if they won 8 or 9 games. But now thinking about it, I would be pretty surprised. But Neighbors has a lingering toe issue, a shoulder issue, and now a minor back issue. Are we moving Neighbors down?
Not yet, but he's teetering.
Is this another guy that we could buy the dip on? Could he fall into round 2?
I
I
don't
think he could.
know.
I think when you get to those receivers after the top 3, it's just such a mixed bag. Like for me, Nico Collins is an easy 4.
Yeah.
And then it's who's 5 through 10. You have Neighbors banged up. You have Puka with the quarterback situation. You have concerns over St. Brown. You have Brian Thomas and how much people want to buy into what last year was. A.J. Brown's got a hamstring injury. Drake London still doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in people to take in the first round.
You're taking a running back.
Justin Jefferson is injured.
Justin Jefferson is injured. Yeah, but it seems like he's going to be okay. Expected to practice this week.
I hope so.
Well, Matthew Stafford was expected to practice like 3 weeks ago, and he's still in his weird chamber.
Quentin Johnston has a concussion, and it was I think it was Lambert Smith who came in for him, right? It was not Trey Harris, who did have a good game, but it was DeAndre Lambert Smith who came in when Quentin Johnston suffered the concussion. What else? Oh, Travis Hunter has an upper body injury, and I think a lot of people might be starting to realize that it's going to be tough for him to play every snap both ways. I don't know how this goes, but I think some people are saying he's just going to be too injury prone. But I think there's another way to look at this with Travis Hunter is that, yeah, he might be too injury prone. And then what happens after that? They say he's not playing defense anymore. We're just going to keep him on offense. That's got to be a possibility.
Sure.
Or the other way.
Or the other way.
He's ahead on offense right now, right? He's first team offense and second team defense. He's been second team defense.
Yeah, it makes me. I feel like maybe going the other way could happen after this year, but for this year, more dialed into the offense. The bigger issue is if he's hurt, well, now you've got to find another receiver and another cornerback to take his snaps. I think there's going to be some games where he does play 100 snaps, but for the most part, he'll be primarily on offense. Still a number 3 receiver I'd like to have.
Terry McLaurin or Travis Hunter?
Hunter.
McLaurin.
The Eagles acquired wide receiver John Mechie from the Texans for tight end Harrison Bryant and a late round pick swap. Jalen McMillan for the Bucs. He hurt his neck, but he appears to be okay. Cleveland did sign wide receiver Isaiah Bond to a 3-year, $3 million deal. Again, look for him in your dynasty leagues. Josh Downs has a hamstring injury. The Bengals are listening to trade offers for Trey Hendrickson, their star defensive end. The Colts signed Xavier Howard, a cornerback who once upon a time was very good. Baltimore running back Keaton Mitchell could be back this week. unbelievable. Green Bay running back Marshawn Lloyd has the worst injury luck. He hurt his hamstring and is likely going to miss week 1 and maybe more. And if you're wondering who the handcuff is for Ashton Jeanty, it seems pretty clear right now it is Raheem Mostert. Jeanty briefly left with a shoulder issue. He came right back. He had a stinger. Also, Brock Bowers played only 7 snaps with Geno Smith. Michael Mayer played 10 snaps. So
drop Bowers and add Mayer.
Well, again, I mentioned Nathan Yonke of PFF, who does a nice job breaking down all the snaps. And he said, it's time to be concerned about Brock Bowers. He made a good case. Now, I'm not saying I agree with it, but his case was, this is a running team. They are going to put Mayer in more when they're going to be running the ball. And Bowers is pretty underweight for a tight end. And Chip Kelly has this history of splitting snaps amongst his tight ends. So I'm not dropping him because I just think he's way too freaking good. They'd be idiots to take him off the field, and it's only the preseason. But he also mentioned that that they have big plans for Michael Mayer. There was a report months ago about that. So should the alarm bells be ringing right now for Brock Bowers?
I think they should be ringing if you were planning on taking him with a top 15 pick. But that's some of the stuff that I was talking about when we first began, splitting the hairs on when to take Brock Bowers and whether or not you should take him versus Trey McBride. Chip Kelly hasn't had a tight end like this before. So to say something like, well, he's never, he splits his tight end usage and all that. Well, just because he's done it before doesn't mean he's going to do it now. And Bowers is way more of a playmaker and a receiving threat than he is a blocker. We've known that since he was at Georgia. I think if you play it safe with Bowers and you aim for him at the 2-3 turn, you're going to be fine.
Okay. All right. So listen, let's get through all these winners and losers here. Risers and fallers. You guys both gave me
uppers
lists.
and downers.
Uppers and downers. So why don't we just kind of go through it rapid fire? Jamey, we'll go through your list and you just give me where's he rising to and a quick reason why. Derrick Henry is a riser. His ADP on CBS is 7th.
I put him in round 1. So him and Jeanty were round 2 picks. They're in round 1 now.
And who fell
did
out?
you move them over?
Just the receivers. So the last receiver in my rankings is Malik Neighbors. So 5 receivers in round 1, 7 running backs in round 1.
Okay. When I moved Puka down, I moved both those guys into the 1-2 turn. So Henry is technically a top 12 guy. Jeanty right behind him.
As of now, I think I'm taking Jeanty over Achane, but you guys are not.
Another week I might be.
Okay.
It's hard to overlook what Achane does when Tua's healthy, and hopefully Achane's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But now, I can see the case against taking Achane because not only do you have to worry about Tua staying healthy, you've got to worry about Achane staying healthy.
I'd like to know what the injury is first.
I think there's a little bit. I got a little nervous with Jeanty being that physical. If he got the stinger, he came back in, but he's running people over, and he's built, to do it. I suppose he's not tall, but he's big. I don't know. You gotta you can't take that much contact all the time, I think. So my point is everyone can get hurt, right?
Yep.
All right. Triple H, all risers for you. Hampton, Henderson, Harvey.
Yeah, I said it before. Hampton and Henderson are top 30 picks now, and Harvey is a round 4 pick.
And Dave, where are you at Triple H?
Hampton 34, Henderson 42, Harvey 50.
I mean, Dobbins didn't even play, right? So that does kind of tell you something.
Did Bo Nix play?
No, that kind of tells you something, right?
Yeah, it tells me that they wanted to rest the veteran and they wanted to take another look at their rookie running back. And he did well. He didn't bounce everything outside anymore.
All right, Braelon Allen is a riser for Jamey, and Zach Charbonnet is a riser. Where do you have them?
33 and 34. 33 for Charbonnet, 34 for Allen.
They're not ahead of Tyrone Tracy, are they?
No.
How about Caleb Johnson?
They are right behind Caleb Johnson, but that's something that could change also as well.
Yeah, I've got Caleb ahead of them. I've got them where I've got my high-end backup running backs. There's some crappy running backs ahead of him in my rankings, so they could move up.
Nick Chubb is a riser. You talked about that. Drake London is a riser.
How come?
Jamey, Drake London?
I just moved him ahead of A.J. Brown. Brown's hamstring injury and Darnell Mooney's shoulder injury. I don't think London gets enough love for how good he could be.
Lad McConkey is a riser.
Yeah, so I dropped him with the Keenan Allen signing, and then watching him play 3 of the 4 snaps in the slot, and Allen staying outside. It's encouraging. So put him back to basically where he was. So he's wide receiver 13 again. He was down to 16 or 17 for me. I don't remember.
Okay. Mike Evans is a riser.
Yeah, lo and behold, I'm the high guy on Mike Evans now. Chris Godwin's injury, it's hard to just overlook with what Evans can be. Like I'm just tired of doubting him and Henry at this point anymore. So round 3 pick now.
Calvin Ridley, a riser for you.
Yeah, I sort of just reshuffled those round 5 wide receivers. So Ridley is now 25, I think. I moved Jalen Waddle up there as well. Put both those guys ahead of Terry McLaurin, for example. Dropped Davante Smith a couple spots. So just kind of reshuffling all those guys. The Rice news, moving him down behind those guys as well. Pearsall moving up, so just all those guys round 5, round 6. So, that's easy spot to take a lot of those wide receivers.
That's your range now for DJ Moore also?
Correct.
So you think Calvin Ridley, you could take him in round 6?
I would take him round 5.
He's on the 5-6 turn for me in PPR.
Can I just okay. Calvin Ridley, last 2 seasons, has had 136 targets and 120 targets. He has barely topped 1,000 yards. He is 30 years old, going to be 31 in December. He has had one great season in his career, one, and it was in 2020. He's been pretty disappointing for fantasy repeatedly, I'd say. So, yeah, that's my counter to that. Are we really sure that Calvin Ridley is going to have a second breakout at age 30?
I don't think he has to have a breakout. I think it's looking at what he was able to accomplish when Mason Rudolph was the quarterback versus what he did with Will Levis as the quarterback. He was just shy of 15 PPR points per game. It was after the DeAndre Hopkins trade. So looking at better quarterback play, at least that's the hope, and getting, the majority of the targets. I mean, you just, talked about Van Jefferson. I know they like, I think I said his name wrong last time, but Ayomanor.
Ayomanor.
Alec. And his potential. Tyler Lockett's still going to be in play there also, and we'll see about both tight ends. But in any event, I think Ridley's got a chance to get a significant amount of targets, and I'm shocked to see where he is based on the ADP we're showing right now that he's ahead of Jameson Williams, for example. So clearly people are excited.
Right,
bro. I'm in this draft right now, the best ball, 14-team best ball flex league. And Scott Fish has the first pick, and he took Ashton Genty. And I'm wondering, do we get double points for rookies or something? I have to check the settings. Did I miss something here? That is a bold pick, Scott Fish. All right, other risers: Jalen Waddle, Emeka Egbuka, and Michael Pittman. Jamey, Jalen Waddle, Emeka Egbuka, and Pittman.
Yeah, in the case of Waddle, similar. Tyreek Hill's injury and Waddle's, I think, is going to be one of the better bounce back candidates because of the tight end situation being what it is in Miami. And now, especially if there's no Devon Achane, Waddle might be too low, even in the mid-20s. In the case of Egbuka, he's right behind Ricky Pearsall for me. Late round 6, early round 7 at this point. I think there's a lot to love about the situation. Dave said it, where they're playing him. He's probably going to be the starting receiver with Mike Evans on the outside, with Godwin in the slot, especially now if Jalen McMillan's going to miss time. Like, that could even make Egbuka's value rise even more. So, and then was there a third one? Who else did you say? Oh, Pittman. Josh Downs with the hamstring injury. So just a little concern there. And I think Pittman got a little too pushed down in the rankings, for me at least, with the back injury that he suffered last year. I thought Anthony Richardson looked good. I thought he came out and he was decisive, and you're going to get a lot of short area throws. That seems to be something that will benefit all those guys. But if Downs is going to miss any time, then I think Pittman's value is going to rise.
How about that deep throw to Anthony Gould? Yeah. That was a good one. He made some mistakes too, but at least like Caleb Williams, it felt like a little bit of forward progress. I think he's going to be their starting quarterback to begin the year. And are you not at all surprised that Waddle had a big day against Detroit in their joint practice when Tyreek was out and Achane was out?
I mean, he could be a monster.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And he got banged up a little bit leading up to that practice, but I think he practiced in full that day. had 2 touchdowns and 7-on-7s.
Yeah, we
chunk
talked
plays in
about this
11s.
last week, that all the Dolphins getting crushed, and then Waddle shows up and Tua looks a lot better.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, I didn't realize I was talking smack about Scott Fish and he was actually here watching the show. No, honestly, I just didn't know.
Let's bring him on so he could respond.
No, I just did. He did respond. He said, fantasy is supposed to be fun. He's my RB4. I'm not getting him in the second round. It's also
Check your DMs.
Start 2 wide receivers, running back. I think it start 3 wide receivers. We got to look at this.
Which draft is this?
This is the flex 14-team best ball flex, of which I am the defending champion.
And what pick do you have?
I have the second pick. I am on the clock. We start 3 to 5 wide receivers, Scott Fish. I'm going to take Jamar Chase if I can figure out how to make a pick on this website. So I will work on that. I'm not logged in. Okay. Anyway, let's go to Dave's risers. Dave, you have. Go ahead, real quick. TreVeyon Henderson.
Yep. I mean,
yeah,
we've talked about him enough already.
Okay.
And do you really think that Josh McDaniels is going to take a look at Henderson and say, well, you're not big enough and you're not Ramondre Stevenson, so we better limit your carries? Like,
yes,
Josh McDaniels has eyeballs just like we do.
Maybe limit his carries. That doesn't mean he won't get a
But
lot.
it doesn't mean sack him with 10 touches a game.
Tyrone Tracy is a riser for you.
I thought he looked good. It looks like the best Giants running back. I'm starting to become a little bit more optimistic about this Giants offense, especially for a lot of the reasons that we talked about earlier in the show. The fact that they were able to move the ball and do some good things without Malik Neighbors on the field. He's absolutely worth a round 7 pick if you're a little thin at rusher.
Quinshon Judkins.
RB. Quinshon Judkins is going to play. Week ago at this time, I didn't know if he was going to play or not, so he moved up.
All right, next up on your risers, TreVeyon Henderson, Tyrone Tracy, Quinshon Judkins, Braelon Allen. We talked about him. Odunze. You want to just say
about him? Keon Coleman. Talked about him. Dalton Kincaid is now a top 12 tight end for me. Thought he's healthy. Looked okay in practice. Worth the late round pick. And then I threw Jackson Dart on the list just for you, Adam. He looks like the guy that I saw at Ole Miss, man. Like, strong in the pocket, unafraid, will run when the opportunity presents itself. Good accuracy, willing to throw deep, a little bit of a gunslinger mentality. I think he's what the Giants need, but that's not what they're going to do because they're scared.
They've already said Wilson's going to start, and he should.
They're scared.
He should start.
No, he shouldn't.
Look, we just undeniably Jackson Dart's had a very good preseason. Get him out there against some ones and see what happens. Get him out there against.
They did one snap.
Right. No, I don't think the Jets
taken off, but he turned it into a positive play.
I don't think the Jets starters were still in the game at that point. The Giants were. All right. Anyway, let's talk about some fallers here. Dave, Justin Fields. We talked about him. Where is he in your quarterback rankings now?
13.
And in 4-point per passing touchdown leagues?
Probably in that same range.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm skittish.
Tank Bigsby, a faller. I don't get it. I mean, what is Tank Bigsby started at a really nice play in the passing game. He even returned a kick.
I've always been Team Tank. Now I've got him and Travis Etienne closer together. I think Etienne's going to be the guy that has a few more carries to begin the year.
Okay. Next.
And if they move him, then hello, Bashal Tootin as a nice stash candidate.
Puka Nacua, this is injury related, right?
Injury related. Well, Puka's not hurt. It's Stafford that's hurt.
DJ Moore, we talked about him.
Yep.
Rashee Rice, we talked about him. And Colston Loveland is a faller for you. Colston Loveland or Dalton Kincaid?
Kincaid. And the reason why is because I think the Bears will use a lot of multiple tight end sets. And it doesn't mean that Colston Loveland's going to get all the targets. Cole Kmet was getting targets. He did it in the preseason game. Did it in practice as well. Durham Smythe was getting run with the first team. I'm a little bit worried about the too many mouths to feed problem in Chicago. And it's why none of those guys should even be like top 50. And we weren't drafting Loveland to be top 50 anyway, but I think he's going to have a lot of games where he doesn't step up. He and Burden, I think, are going to be two players that fantasy managers draft. They get disenchanted with them. They cut them. And then midway through the season, we're going to talk about picking them up off the waiver wire, and then they'll be good.
Yeah. One of the things I want to talk about tomorrow is we're going to have a lot of leftovers, preseason leftovers for tomorrow. I want to talk more about Caleb Williams. And look, just because he's been struggling, it doesn't mean he can't, light bulb can't come out and he starts grasping the offense. Maybe it doesn't even happen in week 1. Maybe it doesn't happen until week 4 or something like that. But
he's not the biggest problem Chicago has. It's
what
their
is?
offensive line? Their offensive line is atrocious.
How could their offensive line be atrocious?
Because they had 5 false start penalties, 1 holding penalty, 4 would-be sacks against Buffalo. They don't know who their left tackle is going to be. Their right tackle isn't particularly good. Their left guard is particularly old. They need to get that whole front 5 fleshed out. And I don't know if it's going to be, even Ben Johnson told the media on Friday that he thinks this is something that's going to probably carry into the season. And Caleb needs that protection. Every quarterback does, but he especially does because he has a hard time getting the ball out quickly.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, look, I think we should talk more about him because you see the talent. I know I said that he has the best arm in football, and it was a ridiculous thing to say. But honestly, he's got a cannon. I mean, the throw up the seam to Cole Kmet, his second throw of the game. I mean, it's effortless, and it's an absolute frozen rope. So I do believe that he has absolutely elite arm talent. And he ran for 500 yards last year. So I don't want, maybe we should be a little more open-minded, I guess, about Caleb Williams. Jamey, your fallers, Ken Walker, now in round 4 for you, right?
Yep.
Breece Hall, we talked about. Now in what? Where is he?
Round 5.
Najee Harris.
Barely draftable.
Think he's going to start on PUP?
The NFI list, potentially,
NFI.
based on the athletic report. But at this point, he's going to be behind. So at what point will he be a factor? You heard what Greg Roman said, that they're going to have somebody share with Omarion Hampton. If it's not Najee, it's Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal, and I forget the other guy that they're talking about. So I hope Harris is healthy to, give any semblance of handcuff potential. But the other side of it is you'd like to see just Hampton dealing with those guys because he's going to obliterate what could be his touch potential if it is Najee Harris there. So, yeah, but Harris, I'm not drafting at this point unless it's one of my last picks.
A.J. Brown, you moved
I'd rather
down.
have Nick Chubb than Najee Harris, give you the example.
A.J. Brown, you moved down 1 spot behind Drake London.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tyreek Hill, you moved down.
Yeah, just reshuffling those round 3 wide receivers. So he was early. He was at one point was in round 2 for me. Now he's in the middle of round 3. So moved him behind some running backs and closer to the middle to the back end of round 3.
Yeah, that's where he's going in these NFC drafts. He's wide receiver 15, but he's 5 or 6 picks behind T. Higgins, who's wide receiver 14. But man, Garrett Wilson and JSN are going ahead of T. Higgins. That's not something that we would do in these drafts. And Tyreek Hill was 36th overall on CBS, so you can start getting him mid to late 3rd round. Might get some good value there on Tyreek Hill. Chris Godwin, you've moved down. Chris Godwin?
In the 50s, yeah. Just tough to justify drafting him. We did like 4 or 5 drafts last week where, what was it, the St. Jude draft? I got him in round 9. Like, I think there's just tough to justify drafting him where we were taking him. And if we do find out he's on the PUP list, like, he's going to sink.
In the 50s, meaning among the top 50 wide receivers,
correct,
not overall. Yeah. But he could end up being a pretty good value to draft, stash, and if he's got his game back, he could be good. But it's all maybes. It's all hope.
How about DJ Moore? You moved down. We talked about him. And Josh Downs, just because of the injury.
Yes.
Do we know how long Downs is going to be out?
We do not.
How do you not say going to be down? Come on. It's a standoff.
So you get to make your little jokes, but when I try and make mine, it's I'm in the middle of 23 drafts and I've got a lot going on and we have so much to get to.
This was such a mistake being the commissioner of every league. All right. Anyway, that's it for today's show. Tomorrow we got
Adam. You know what happens in Miami if Davante Achane misses time and Jalen Wright is benched?
I don't know, and I still haven't heard the joke, so go ahead.
They'll have the Ali G show.
Okay, fair. That was great. I'm sorry I missed that. I would have genuinely laughed at that.
So what you really needed to do is stare into the camera and not even like smile a little bit.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
That's the bit.
You made a great joke. I would
No
never.
matter how. I was going to do an impression too, but I'm shy.
You should be in Happy Gilmore 3.
I should have written Happy Gilmore 2. Would have been better than.
You've had a great idea.
I did.
Great idea.
We need Heath to hit the button.
We're gonna end the show. Hey, I heard at 1 p.m. Eastern there's gonna be a show on CBS Sports Network that I'm not on. I'll be napping. No, I'll be watching. I can't wait. CBS Sports Network, 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday and Friday this week.
You haven't started promoting Fridays yet.
Goodbye, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.